Hello and welcome to the London Something podcast with myself, DJ Ron, and thank you in advance for joining us today. Thanks to those of you who have liked, commented, shared and subscribed. We really appreciate your support, as by doing so it helps our channel grow and reach so many more people. A special shout out to our sponsor West End DJ, who with their continued support help us provide more of these episodes documenting the culture of jungle and drum and bass. Check out the link below and use our London Something code to get a discount for the best in DJ and sound equipment for all your needs. With a legacy spanning 30 years, my next guest has one of the most recognisable vocal intros to ever grace a jungle record. From a family background really associated with reggae music, this MC submerged himself in that culture and has seen his name carved into the history of jungle. Please welcome my friend, UK Apache. How you doing, bro? You okay?
To another legend as well,
Yeah.
DJ Ron.
Big up, big up, big
Come
up.
on, man.
We know that you're an avid watcher of the podcast, and so as a result of that, I figure you understand where we're going to go from here. So I'd just like to kind of like gauge with you like your earliest sort of like memories as a UK Apache, which is obviously not your real name, right? Yeah, share with me your earliest memories.
Okay, Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah amma ba'd. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. We give some blessings, you know.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, my real name is Abdul Wahab, aka UK Apache, aka the original
Nuttah.
Which I have to laugh about nowadays, but I mean, it's cool. So yeah, I was born in South London from mixed parents. My father is Iraqi Arab, and my mum, she passed away 2009. May Allah bless her soul. She was South African Indian, and it's a weird combination straight from the beginning, because at that time, most Iraqis, they just married Iraqis, and the South Africans, they, as you know, about I don't even know about the apartheid system and all this, they kind of kept to themselves in their own groups. But my mum and dad met in the UK, and then I was born there, and straight from an early age, just as a baby, taken to Iraq. But unfortunately, my mum, she couldn't really deal with the culture, so she came back and they divorced. My dad never came back. So I was just raised with my mother and my grandmother and my grandfather in South London. Yeah.
How old were you when you came back from Iraq?
That's a good question. I don't know the exact age, but it was very young. Yeah, probably about 2 years old.
Okay, right. Yeah.
Or 2.5.
So she wasn't there very long.
She wasn't there very long.
Yeah.
But she just couldn't deal with the culture issue, and probably other things as well. Decided to come back, and my father didn't want to come back. So I was raised without a father. Well, my grandfather was like a father, but he was very old at that time as well, you know. And so I was in my household. It was just me, my mother, my grandmother, and my grandfather in South London. The first house we had was in, if I can recall, Streatham. Yeah. So it was quite tough at the beginning because we just had a flat. We didn't have a house. So I used to sleep with my grandmother, my mum, and myself, and my grandfather used to sleep on the sofa. I was a little baby, and that's how we had it for a while until they could afford a house, and then they bought a house in Tooting.
What work did your mother do and your grandparents do? I'd imagine that your grandparents would have been, they would have still been relatively young then.
Yeah, they wasn't too old actually, but so they were all educated. My mum was a qualified nurse from back in the day, you know, and that time it was really, really tough to be a nurse because there wasn't all the, you know, mechanical stuff that you have now. You know, you have to lift up the patient by yourself, wash stuff with your hands, and it was serious. I mean, I'm not saying it's not difficult now for the nurses, but
no, but it was way more physical then.
Yes.
And a lot of what happened to nurses physically, like ailments and whatever, the nurses now, or the system then have learnt from that.
Yes.
And put implements in place. I know that because my mum was a nurse and she suffers even now from challenges that she faced back then.
Yes, it wasn't easy. And my grandmother, she worked in Harrods as a secretary. Yeah, she was a qualified secretary. And my grandfather was a bookkeeper. Okay. But before this, my grandmother and my grandfather were involved in the ANC in South Africa, the struggle against the apartheid system.
Yeah.
And my grandmother was Nelson Mandela's first secretary
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So I came from like revolutionary people,
Right,
brought up with
right.
people who
That's
fought for
very
justice.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
yeah, yeah.
influenced me in my career
Yeah.
and why I kind of took up the music.
And so
But
it should, yeah. And so it should.
yeah. So they came from a hard situation in South Africa, and that's why they left South Africa because of what was happening there. And unfortunately, when I used to call him Uncle Nelson Mandela, because I actually met Uncle Nelson Mandela when he came over. Before, obviously, he's passed away now, in the Dorchester Hotel.
Right, okay.
When I was a younger man,
Right, yeah, of
and
course.
that influenced me growing up. That they were people who stood up, and stood up for justice, and and I was always taught that, try, speak the truth and try to, do the good works.
Wow, that's a very interesting and early sort of like introduction
Yeah.
to being somewhat a black sheep then.
Yeah.
Right? Of your community, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So the funny thing, so my mother never remarried again, and so I was a single child. And at the beginning, like I said, it was tough, And as you know, those days back in the day, growing up in South London, there was a lot of things happening, a lot of racism going on, many things happening with that situation, and being a single child, South London was tough. And it's weird because that's where my grandparents came from, that, and my mum came from that, and then they're in London, and that's going on as well. You had the National Front, you had skinheads going around attacking people and stuff like that. And yeah, so I grew up that as a young child. I grew up with that, and getting called Packy and all these kind of things. But I mean, it made me who I am today. I think everybody's got a story to tell, and with these things is that there's a conditioning that shapes you, and there's always good in everything, really. Even though at the time you probably don't think of it as being good, being attacked and all these kind of things, and I felt very isolated as well as an individual because we, in the area that we lived in, Tooting at that time, wasn't looked at as a great area. Now it's changed. Now it's very they've got the massive hospital there, and it's very inexpensive area. But at that time it was more like a poor area. And my little family that I knew from my mum's side, because I didn't know my family from my father's side because they were in Iraq, and I didn't have contact with my father until I was 20 years old. Just for 1 month, I went to Iraq to meet him. It was very small. My family was very small. So, and most of my family were in the other areas like Ealing and Harrow. So we'll get together occasionally, but it wasn't like I didn't have a family network really. So being a single child as well, and being, not really having a family network, I felt very isolated. So I took friends, as brothers, literally, because and anybody I met, like if it was a female or male, they were either brothers and sisters in a sense, which is not always the case because friends are not always sincere.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
You learn these things as you grow up.
I did consider actually that the heritage of your mum, before I even asked you, I thought, I don't think his mum would have remarried, you know, and as a result of that, you being an only child from that background in London, irrespective. I mean, London at that time, you had to have backup at that time.
Yeah, believe me.
You had to have backup at that time,
Yeah.
and so wherever you were in London, listen. There's a saying, a West Indian saying, for those who don't know, it's called "Duppy know for frightened."
Yeah,
And what that actually means is that people know, I'm going to pick on somebody
100%.
because I know I can get away with it.
Exactly.
Or they know, well, I'm not going to pick on someone because I won't get away with that.
Yep.
Often enough, the National Front, they would
they
normally
down the
sort of
street.
like be pick
100%,
pick and choose
100%.
like how they would do that. And if you were on your own,
and they weren't easy because obviously they were ready for battle. They were they used to wear the Dr. Martin boots, and they don't have no hair to pull. So they're kind of just going out there looking like that anyway, like they're ready for battle. But I'll be honest with you, I mean, for me it was weird because I found, when we talk about the skinhead movement and that, it wasn't just like, maybe people think it's just white people, but it was also black people as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I got problems from both type of cultures. But saying that, I always say this: there's good and bad in every way. So I did have good friends as well that came along, kind of like took me under their wing in a sense. So I was really connected to Jamaican community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, and I kind of like had made a huge assumption that somewhere along the line that did happen.
Yeah, definitely.
But I do want to go back just one tiny bit about the skinhead culture and whatever, because it was something that I learned very recently, that skinheads and racism and that far right sort of movement, this was actually taken on, and they actually got the bad press of it. Because originally, as far as I know, I mean, you can check it out yourself.
Yes.
And I can't remember where I actually found this out, but I was actually quite surprised about this, that the skinhead movement originally wasn't about that.
No.
It wasn't about that.
No.
It's just that the far right took on that persona.
Of course.
And then they got the bad rep.
Yes.
And so I run it. Why
I
did
mean,
I
like
wanna
anything, like even like rap music, you know,
Yeah.
the gangster rap. The rap music wasn't about that at the beginning.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
things went in that direction.
But yeah, and I just wanted to say that because I didn't want all skinheads to get a rap as racist or National Front or far
No.
right, because I don't believe that was the case. Yeah.
No, neither. I mean, I think there's probably somebody behind it because they had reasons, probably
Yeah,
a political
other
reason.
yeah,
You'd be surprised
primarily
where
political reasons.
Yeah, and where it went to, you know.
Yeah.
But just like I say, so for me, as I was growing up, around my area, there were some, you know, Jamaicans, and one of my first friends was a guy called Gareth Wilson, and we used to move. You know, big up Gareth. We used to move, and I would go to his house.
What age is this?
This is from, I think, like I say, from I think 10, 11, that I can remember.
Yeah, because that is a very impressionable age.
It's weird because them days young people used to like play on the streets.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and the only time, you know, you may get beaten up, you wouldn't get stabbed, and like, you know, usually like if you have a fight, it's just a fist fight. You know, you may get a punch up and stuff like that. But generally, you're not going to get stabbed. The people who had guns on it, they were real bad, man. You know, usually say, I mean, obviously it's changed now, but so, and no one would run off with you, or like young kids. There, you know, you'd be playing outside because you didn't have computer games, you didn't have the internet. You know, so your energy, you're outside, you're riding your bikes, you know, the bike riding.
Yeah, of course.
And going ice skating when you get a bit older.
Building go-karts.
Yeah, we used to ride motorbikes and stuff as well, like, you know. So you do, you know, so I used to be hanging around with this, my brethren, them two, he's called brethren, Gareth Wilson and his dad, you know what I mean? We used to sit with him and stuff. And he had, he had his big brother and his sister. So I kind of, with them, like, and me and Gareth used to move. And that's how, obviously, at that time, as you know, there's a program like Top of the Pops as well. So we used to listen to that in my house. And coming in his house, Gareth's house, obviously, there was reggae music getting played. So I'd be hearing all these artists, like, you know, obviously there's Bob, but there's like other people like Ja Thomas, you know, and Brigadier Jerry, and singers like Dennis Brown, and all, I don't even know his name. You probably know his name. Of course, come on. Yeah, Dennis Brown. So, you know, and Gregory Isaac. So I'm listening to these things, and I'm, you know, obviously I'm liking these things. And I'm starting to get the Jamaican culture. And and I see, like, I'm thinking, like, Jamaicans are getting respect as well. It's like they don't really take rubbish. And I remember Mr. Wilson always saying to me, you know, Wab, because he used to say Wab. He didn't really know my name was, and that's another thing. My name, I wasn't proud of my name, because nobody never had a name like, you know, my name Abdul Wahab. It was like, it was no one. So I felt, you know, isolated with that name. I mean, I didn't feel I wanted to say it, because half the time I'm getting called Packy and all these kind of things, you know. And I think, okay, my name's not a name people know, because I wasn't with the Asian community. I wasn't with the Arab community. Being mixed as well was very difficult.
So when you say you wasn't with the Asian community, my experience of the Asian community at that age were that they were very much together by themselves.
Yes.
You know, they were very much together by themselves. Even if I think right now, and I try to think of like an Asian friendship group or any friendship, it was thin.
Yes.
You know, it was very thin.
Yes, they weren't around, actually. Not like, I mean...
Yeah, they would be in their own areas.
I think I helped them come out their show when things moved on.
Yeah.
When I found, you know, I've definitely helped them come out their show.
Yeah. And to you know, on the other side of that, so was the African community.
Yeah.
You know, the Caribbean community, they were the sort of, within the community, they formed the community.
Yes. They had their own community at that time,
Yes,
because
yes.
I remember, like, obviously going to Gareth's house, and then from that he used to take me to, you know, his other sister's house as well. He had 2 sisters, and they would have parties and stuff like that. But in these parties, just pure Jamaican, like yardies, you know what I mean? And I'm sticking out like a sore thumb. But this is my teaching, you know.
Of course it is, yeah.
And as I'm going to these events and I'm starting to, you know, socialise that way, obviously I'm coming more yardified. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
of
start
course.
love Jamaicans. I like everything, the food. I'm eating the food.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
I'm getting
You're speaking
the
the way.
I'm speaking
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? And getting it really well
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
young person, because as you're young, you can pick up things very quickly. You
yeah.
know, they say look, you're like a sieve when you're young.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
soak
yeah.
in things. You know.
And also, just to add to that point as well, while you're saying, "Oh, I stuck out like a sore thumb," the thing is that within the West Indian community, there were Asian,
Yeah, they were.
and they were. I mean, one of the biggest that was a super cat.
Yes, of course.
You know, and he was mixed.
Yes.
You know, and he was
But
mixed.
nobody never knew that in a sense.
Yeah, yeah. At the time, you don't put 2 and 2 together.
No. There's
But
a lot of things you find out later
Yeah,
on. I mean, but at that time, a lot of Indian yardies, you'd say, you know what I mean, or, you know, or they say coolie boy, or whatever.
Coolie, yeah, they say
Which I
coolie,
don't like to
yeah,
say
yeah.
that word because I know the meaning of that word now. You know what I mean? Which
Well, you'll have to explain it because I don't.
It's funny, I looked up these words because obviously people say, yeah, what I'm Indian, and they say, what to me, what I'm Indian, or what I'm coolie, what I say. And so we're talking, and, you know, and I'm saying to myself, okay, eventually, you know, you get that time when you want to find out what everything means. You know, you start want to acquire knowledge.
Because it's towards you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
eventually,
yeah,
but not at
that's
the
right.
beginning. I didn't know.
Yeah,
I didn't
man,
know
you
these.
just like-
yeah, I
yeah,
didn't know these words obviously are in the dictionary.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
so
yeah.
they like brethren as well.
Yeah, yeah.
It's an old English word.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
a proper English word. I just thought it's a yardie word. I never forget when I met my other good close friend who was like really close to me, because I had a few. Obviously, you have a few close friends,
Yes.
and then you meet a lot of other people on your journey. A brother called Rodney, which he changed his name to Musa because he came Muslim. And I met him in school now. I'm starting secondary school. And I remember meeting him. He came into the class as a new person, as a new student from Jamaica. And me, any real Jamaicans, I just wanted to connect with them. I had that understanding already that about networking is a good thing, and not like real, like, I mean, because Gareth his father's Jamaican, but Gareth, like, he was born in the UK. You know what I mean? But this guy was from
straight from
Jamaica.
the yard.
Yeah. So it's one of them as well. I mean, there was others from Spanish Town. Big up the Spanish. I have to big up certain man because I remember I saw a friend the other day who I haven't seen for a long time, my yardie from Spanish Town, and I was talking about my interview and he said, "Oh, you didn't mention none of us." I was like, so big up the Spanish Town man them as well. Yeah, like Alric and Gary and them and Dwight and them. So, but this brother, basically, I was walking around and I was saying like, "What to everybody."
Yeah.
So when he came to the class, the teacher said, "Who would like to show him?" So obviously, I straight away. So from that time. From the first year in secondary school, we're friends up to today.
Right,
Now,
that's my
closest friend. He's my closest friend.
That's
and
lovely, yeah.
look at that, we've kept And I remember I used to go around and say, what? And he came up to me one day and said, "Do you know what means?" I said, "No." Because it means what happened. I goes, "Oh, okay. So that's like, you know, you're learning. You know what I mean? But you're just young and you're using things. So, you know, walk like a Jamaican, like talk like a Jamaican, dress like a Jamaican, eat like a Jamaican. But I wasn't Jamaican, I was Jamaican.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know, the interesting thing is that a couple of things. One is that why I can relate to this story is because one of my best friends, Rusty Ranks, is Irish.
Okay, look at that.
Everybody in Hackney who's from my age group, they know Rusty Ranks.
Yeah.
And he's full white.
Yeah.
But for as long as we've known him, he's been in black culture.
Exactly.
You chat lyrics, food, so everything.
It's just weird how things turn out because I mean, obviously I didn't plan for this, but that's how the direction of God He put me through. You know, so around the yardies and that, so Jamaicans, and I was secretly like. I used to watch Top of the Pops and stuff and think, oh yeah, you know, these singers they're quite cool, you know, and stuff like that. And I used to sing to myself, and eventually when we started to practice on sound systems now, I started to with the Spanish Town man, we used to make tapes in the house. We'd go there and as you know the sound system how it works, you know what I mean, you play the A side, put the B side on, you do your thing. So I used to do my thing as practice, and he used to say, Apache, you know, I don't even ever call myself Apache, I just said Indian, right? And they said, yeah, you're good, you're wicked, you should take it seriously. And I used to say, no, not really, but deep down I wanted to. You know what I mean? But I didn't know. I was saying, okay, I'm gonna, So as I was in my house all the time, I'm doing my practicing of my art of the obviously of the singing and the chatting and listening to a lot of tapes and a lot of there's a few artists that really hit me well, like people like Papa San, and obviously you got like Brigadier Jerry and Ja Thomas and Papa Michigan and General Smiley, or like the old school ragga chatters, U-Roy, you know what I mean, the legends them.
It's mad sitting here
Stitchy,
listening to you to
Lieutenant
say those
Stitchy.
names, you know, because I know from Demon and Flinty and all them, like, watch this, they're going to be like, he knows his people,
Listen,
you know? Yeah.
with no doubt, right, when I travelled as well, now I'm a teenager, I travelled to Canada, I couldn't stay about sound system. I remember when I went to Canada, right, because my auntie's from Canada, big up the Canadian them, and I used to go there as a young guy and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to be here now with no sound system. So one day there was a car just parked up and some yardies in there, and I just went up to them and said, yo, I'm a chat, and they looked at me like, what do you mean you're chatting? I said, I chat and sound system. Is there a sound system? They said, right, jump in. I jumped in their car. I didn't even know.
Random.
Random.
Yeah.
They took me to some ghetto place, right? You know, some flat thing, you know what I mean? And then man, they were hitting dominoes outside. And I was like, I was just young and didn't care where I went. So they took me to this man. He's a sound. He said, this boy saying can chat, whatever, blah, blah. He goes, you can chat, Mario? And I said, yeah. So he took me upstairs and we made a tape. From that time, they loved me.
Yeah, of
you know
course,
what I mean?
they would do.
Yeah, because I mastered the skill.
You
You know what I mean? I really got it to the point. Then they said, no, you must be a yardie.
Yeah,
Because the way you talk, the way you... I said, I'm not a Jamaican, but...
No, but you know something? Think of it like this. You're in Jamaica and you're born there,
Yeah.
right? You're born to Indian parents.
Yeah, of course.
Or you might be born to a mix of Indian and black parents. And as you wake up in the morning, you're submerged in that culture.
Of
You're
course.
going to be a part of it.
Yeah, no.
It was the same as you. But yours started at 10 years old.
Yeah.
And you submerged yourself in that culture.
Yeah.
That was it. As far as it, by nurture, you became who you became.
Yeah.
It wasn't by nature.
Yeah, no.
But by nurture,
That's right.
this is the environment you are, and this is how you became.
Yeah, it was God.
The lingo, even as I'm listening to you now.
Yeah.
You know, like, before we came into the interview, I never heard one bit of it.
No.
Not one bit of it. And since being in here now, that's why I got this smile on my face, because since I've been in here now, I can hear you've got it down pat. It's like, you can hold your own in a room if man was cutting joke.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I'm not so yardified now as before, because that time I used to live it and breathe it. Obviously, things change because there's so much that's happened since, those youthful days.
Yeah.
And obviously, I've gone into so many different things now.
Of course.
But I can't forget, obviously the beginnings, because it's very important, the foundation. And I give respect to all the people that, helped me on that road. I learnt a lot. I went through a lot. There was madness, police things. We go through things, becoming even like locking up my hair I done at one stage because I did love the Rasta religion, all that kind of thing. But I didn't really believe in the Rasta religion in a sense, but I thought the Rasta man thing was, like a godly thing, or, and stuff like that, very spiritual thing. And I done up my hair at one stage. But I'll be honest, I went through many fashions. I went through music. Music, listening to so much different types of music as well, not just reggae, Reggae was the kind of the final thing that moved me from there to jungle. But
before we go down that route, I just wanted to go back a little step, because when you spoke about your friend who you met at school, and this is your first, you're in secondary school now.
Yeah, secondary school.
Yeah, so it's the first year of secondary school.
Yeah.
And you meet your friend who you're friends with now. This is this is 40 odd years of friendship.
Yes.
So take me through that period, because you don't have any siblings at home.
No.
Your mum obviously is working very hard as a nurse.
100%.
Your grandparents are working very hard. So you're often by yourself.
Yes.
You're by yourself,
Yes.
and your means of building your own sort of like social network is through your friend who you go to his house.
Yeah.
And now you've added a new friend now.
Yeah.
And now you're in secondary school as well.
Yeah.
So you're growing into somebody else. Tell me about that
in primary school, I was really good as a student. I really studied when I was little. As soon as I hit secondary school, I became like really anti, education in a sense, because by that time I just knew I wanted to be in the music industry, or do that kind of thing, and in the artistic way. And they didn't really teach that in school. I think we had some music lessons, but not really as you would have it now. They didn't take it seriously, That time I think I did want to become an artist. So for me, it was like, okay, I'm in school. I don't really like the school. The school's rough. I was in Ennis Bevan School. It's just bare man. You know what I mean? And boy, You know, there's bare things going on.
So this was an all-boys school, I take
All
it?
boys school, yeah. It's changed now, I think.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was rough. But I'm with my good like this guy, the brother, you know, and like he was an example to me. You know, he got everything right in school. He became a prefect. Yeah, but he was very strong.
This is a young man from Jamaica.
Yeah. He was very good at school, you know. And the thing is, you know, the thing about me, I would move with people like that as well. Even some bad man, I would move with them, yeah. And they would respect me because of my talent on the mic, you know, when they found out. And also, I was a bit of a player guy. So I realised there's two things you kind of get respect for on the street, right? Either you can, you know, or a few things. You can fight well, yeah, which I wasn't much of a fighter. I didn't really like to fight, but if I had to fight, I'd do it. It wasn't really my thing, fighting, you know. I'd done a few martial arts things, but I didn't find the fun in fighting, you know. I wanted to become an artist. So obviously you have to defend yourself occasionally. You have a few issues and all that. And but I'll move with man that can fight. So when people see me, like I said, you got your back at it. You know what I mean? Because my man's moving with my man. Or they know me as the mic man. You know what I mean? They know me as this guy's a chatter. You know what I mean? So like, allow him. You know what I mean? So I'm getting my name now. You know, but as I said, in school, I wasn't the best. You know, it kind of like it went all downhill. Yeah. But I was with somebody that was going all uphill. So it was a weird thing.
So you make your way through secondary school, not necessarily getting so much into academia and stuff, but you make your way to the end of it.
Because I think it was a weird time. You know, it was a weird time. I didn't feel comfortable in the school. I don't think they had the right way of technique of teaching, not like they have now. You know, you just have to keep moving up. Even if you fail exams, whatever, they don't care. You know, you just keep moving up. And at one stage, they just, you know, I would walk in the school with a ratchet. I know, you know the ratchet.
Yeah,
I say, telephone. They give you a telephone cut.
Yeah,
I had a wicked one. So I mean, I'm not trying to glorify it. But
I remember.
You're young, and I had one, and they found me with it, and then they brought in a social worker and a psychiatrist. Yeah. And he said something to me about my dad, but I realised later when he got the information from my mum. Because I think, how does he know? So this is in my young teenage ages. Older teenage ages. We're talking about probably about 15, 16, 17. So at that time, I was young and I was experimenting. So I thought, okay, you have to be cool to join, you know, you have to smoke, you know. And then obviously with reggae music, like ganja's kind of connected to it, you know. I thought, this is what I need to do. So I started smoking weed. Then I would sell it. At one time, I remember coming from a place called Army Way. They used to sell weed down there. I used to buy my weed. You know, Army Way in Wandsworth? It's a famous place, right?
Right. No, I don't know it. But,
yeah, well, they had a famous sound there called Jalion.
Okay,
Or Young Lion. Or
Young Lion. I know Young Lion. Yeah.
With Daddy Willie.
Daddy Willie,
The big Don.
He used to switch from Yardie to Cockney.
Yeah, he used to clash with the Saxon sound and Unity.
That's
right. You know what I mean? And Joshaka.
That's right.
And Joshaka was more dub. And I used to be in a youth club as well in Battersea called Donington Youth Club, which BMW sound.
Right. Okay.
This is when I'm young, but I used to smoke weed that time. We used to go down there, right? Smoke up the weed in the place, you know, skanking out to the reggae. And then we go into the flats because they used to let you in the flats those days. Never used to be locked. So sitting there. This was I used to move with the Spanish Town man then. The mutes there. They used to pick a woman used to pick us up to go youth club. So one day when I was shot in drugs, I would go, you know, I would buy it from Army Way that time, and my friend was waiting at the bus stop, and I just come out, and there was a policeman there, and I mean, and he was just like on the other side of the road, and he turned his back on me, and I had the thing in my pocket, and I just threw it on the floor. And he goes, "Oh, come over here." You know what I mean? And I'm like, all right. So I thought he's not, and he just nicked me. He said, "You're nicked." I said, "For what?" And he went over and he picked up the weed because he saw it in the reflection.
Right.
So he put me in the cell that night. I mean, but luckily, I never got jail sentence right for anything. I mean, I just got in trouble with those little things. You know what I mean? And one time I got beaten up by the police.
No way.
Yeah, because my friend was coming out the tube station one time and they were trying to beat him up and they threw him in the back of the van. And me being myself, I went to try to stop it and go to the back of the van. I was a little skinny guy, you know what I mean? And they threw me in there and they just smacked me up. That's what they do them days. Nearly broke my arm.
Oh, no.
And when we went to court, they gave me a 1 year suspended sentence. And basically said that I tried to attack the police.
Yeah.
And I made a song called Beat Up the Police.
Yeah.
I never forget. Because I'll make up lyrics like that out of it. I went to one sound clash and I chat these lyrics and the place just went mad.
Yeah.
Mad. I never recorded it, you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
But it just went mad. But this is how I got in trouble with the police.
law,
Yeah.
right?
I wasn't
Yeah,
never
yeah.
really into thieving or that wasn't my thing. You know what I mean? Or robbing people. No.
Yeah.
I just, sometimes smoke a bit of weed. And I did feel a bit, like I said, I felt very sad as well inside because I didn't have a father. And when I used to go with my friends, and they had family, they had brothers and sisters. I had no one. So
that
affected me.
And you were aware of it.
100%. I had people talking about, they couldn't buy trainers, but other people had trainers. So they felt sad about it. They felt, they felt they're losing out. Can you imagine? I didn't have an actual, didn't have a father.
Sorry you had to go through that. You know what
No,
I mean?
it's God's plan. I'm not sorry about anything, to be honest, but this was just what it was. And saying that, that's what made me turn to my artwork, I think. Through that, I would, create artistic works of the emotions and the experiences that I went through.
And what kind of artistic works do you mean there?
Well, I mean, feeling those things, you express it, or I would spend more time on practicing my my artistic skills.
You mean as an artist?
As an artist,
right,
yeah. I mean, I'd spend, once I managed to, my mum should buy me equipment. She always used to support me. So at the early age, we didn't have money. But when she finally got a good job, they all got good jobs. And they could, they could support me more. My mum would help me with buying equipment and stuff like that. Eventually, my decks, I got, I had the tapes. And at that time, it was tapes. So I would be, from the morning until I feel hunger, I'll be practicing my rapping, And I had, from an early age, I had a good memory. I had a test one time in primary school where the teacher said, we're going to give you numbers to memorize. Let's see how much you can memorize. And it's funny when you grow up, you don't know what you've got. Like, you don't know the qualities or the skills that you've got. Everybody's got something that the Almighty gives them. You know what I mean? So one of the things I had was a good memory. And I never used to write my songs because I didn't like my writing, to be honest. I used to hate writing because I wasn't academical that way, to write, in a sense. So I'd memorize them, which would be better to perform them and actually even record them. Because I see a lot of people today, writing is good because you get better words probably, but I would just write songs in my head. And I had this natural talent to do that and memorize. So if I had to record it in the studio, I didn't have to have paper or nothing. I could just
do it that way.
Yeah. And it's a weird thing because it connected to later on in the path that I'm on more now, which is my religious path, as a Muslim, and the Quran is the book of the Muslims. Just to explain it, I'm sure people know that, but. And it's memorized. It's probably one of the only books in the world that's memorized from the beginning to the end. So that was a blessing in the sense of where I am now, what I'm doing more now than writing songs. But, I've always had that blessing of memorization. Yeah.
I'm listening to what you're saying. And, like in these things, I don't know if I'll keep this bit in, but in these things,
Cool.
while I'm the person speaking, thoughts come to me, And a thought came to me, and you know what the thought was?
Fire.
You're the first artist that I look forward to speaking with you, going through your career, and then going beyond it.
Wow.
Normally, when we're in here,
Yes.
we go through their life,
Yeah.
we get to their career, and then we end.
Yeah.
Because they've already spoken about their career 3 million times on other shows.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm very curious to find out what happened and...
I haven't lived in one world.
Yeah, I believe so.
And I do believe people live in other worlds, but I really made a move to another world.
No, I recognise that. And as you were talking just now, I think it was because you spoke of the Quran and you spoke about the memorisation from school to then.
Yeah.
That's a big jump.
Yeah, I just jumped there because I was...
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I understood it.
Yeah,
I understood
great,
it. But because you said that, it
There's
dawned on me.
It
dawned on me, whoa. It was a long time before he got to this part because he was a yard man, junglist, junglist, came out from jungle, and here you are on a spiritual path, and so. But sorry to interrupt.
No, it's cool. It's cool. In my time of being alone as a single child, I would practice my skill, write songs, and take my time up that way, and then on your path, you meet a lot of people, and as I meet the people, I'm sharing my life with them and trying to get from them what a person may have got from brother and sisters. Because sometimes people say you wouldn't want a brother and sister anyway, because you know, there's not everybody's happy with their brother and sisters. But I mean, being a person who hasn't really got brother and sisters, though my dad married again after 10 years and he had other children, I wasn't raised with them. I do know them, you know, big up the the Iraqi crew, you know, because they're fully Iraqi and they're living in America at the moment. Yeah.
You're in secondary school now, and you're going through and whatever. You're still steeped in your music, and you know that that's an area now that excites you.
Yeah.
It's an area where you can return to then as well when in times of loneliness or
Yes.
what have you, yeah?
Yeah.
How did that turn into more than just an idea? And obviously you were going and chatting on sound systems. Walk me through that era of the chatting on sound systems and how that then potentially brought us to how we know you as UK Apache.
Yeah. So now obviously I'm writing songs, you know, and I'm performing them on tapes and stuff, and I'm giving it to people, and you know, I've got people around me and they say that sounds good, it sounds bad, you know, wicked. Yeah, I mean, you're fire, you're upon fire, you know. I'm like, okay, so let me see now. Now I've got the dream, you know, and I had the dream, but I didn't share the dream with everybody, and now I'm right. Okay, now I need to make this happen, you know, because also I looked at reggae music or that platform as a tool to put a message out there of positivity, because reggae music, the music I grew up with, most of it was about positive things. You know, for me, it was the voice for the voiceless. So I wanted to be this voice for the voices because I'm raised with people who fought for justice. So I thought, okay, this is my platform. This is a platform where you can speak for the people that haven't got a voice through music, you know. And that's what happened with my first single, which was called No Poll Tax. At the time, the poll tax. My grandfather was very political, obviously. So I found out about things which probably people didn't even know about. And he said, there's going to be a poll taxes coming out, you know, it's going to come, blah, blah, blah. I said, and when I saw the riots at that time, and Maggie Thatcher was the Prime Minister and what she was doing.
And how did that come
perfect
out?
music to do it.
Yeah. Did that come out like on a record or?
So basically, my grandfather was working as a bookkeeper. He officially retired, but he would do some work occasionally as a bookkeeper. So there was a laundrette that we used to use as well. That back in the day, in that laundrette there was a person I think working there was called Michael Gordon, who was a great lovers rock singer, and we came together to put this track. And I just chose one of the rhythms that was at that time. I can't remember the name of the rhythm even actually, but it's a very famous old reggae rhythm that was. And I done a version. He built the rhythm with a guy called Bubblers, who was a famous musician as well, and we recorded it and we put it out there. But it's funny, when I was speaking to my grandfather about that before he died, he just said, you know, it's going to get banned. No one, and it did, you know. But it set the standards for what I'm coming as an artist, because I never done music to be famous, though fame came with it. I never done it just to get money. That wasn't the most important thing for me, or to get women, or because all these things come with these things, you know. You know that being, but I, you know, for the message. You know, so straight away I'm doing this tune called No Poll Tax, which is on YouTube now because somebody put it up there. I didn't.
Oh, really?
But, yeah. Funny enough, I found it on YouTube. And I was like, oh
right.
wow! So that's that was the start, and that came about.
And how old were you then at that age?
Well, that came in 1990.
So you'd left school by then?
Yes.
Yeah, you'd left school. Yeah.
I've left school by then, and I've left school with no qualifications.
Right, okay, right.
Yeah, but I've gone into work because my family's like, you need to work, you know. So I said, yeah. So those days, work was easier to get. So I had numerous jobs. I worked on the London transport, in the tubes. I worked in factories. I worked in hospitals. I worked in as a sales assistant. In the catering industry, because I studied a bit of catering. I did study, but I just didn't finish things because I knew deep down I knew I wanted to become an artist, you know, and that was my goal at that time. So every job I got sacked from.
Why though? Why from everyone? You get turned up late or?
Yeah, turn up late. I mean, the tube work was like shift work, so it'd be early morning. You know, I'm young. I'm like, I'm not getting up them times of night, 5:30 in the morning. I need to. Now I'm equipped for those type of jobs. You know, I'm totally different now. But those days, you know, I'd be like, oh God, you know what? To sleep. And you're just young. And I'm just finding myself, and I didn't take the job seriously. I just knew I had to do it because my mum said you have to do it. I'm living at the house. You can't live here for free, you know what I mean? Obviously. So they're, okay, yeah, I'm going to get a job. So, you know, but deep down, I wanted to make it in the music. It was harder then because there was no internet. Can you imagine? I'm going on sound systems. I made my own sound system. I'm going on sound system, chatting live, and I'm getting, you know, the yardies are looking at me like, who's this Indian boy? Like, who does he think he is? You know, and them days, not like X Factor. You know, you take the mic, and if you're not good, man's throwing a bottle in your head. You know, man don't care who you are. Like, he would just be like, come off the mic, boy. You know, well, you think you're a bad man. You know what I mean? But the good thing, even if they didn't like me, because I used to get a lot of hatred as well, you know, from different people, like, because they think, who's he trying to? They had to respect me when I touched that mic.
Yeah, and that's the difference.
Because I was good at it.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Not being boastful.
No. No, I don't believe you are. You know what I mean? You prove yourself over and over. No, that's not what I'm talking about. In fact, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
It's the same as I mean, it's a movie out with Eminem, and he does something similar, and he's like, this white guy turns up, everybody thinks he's an idiot, he goes on and he destroys the place. That is what happens with music. That's what happens with art. Yeah. That's what happens with dance. That's what happens in the creative industry.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying X Factor is not hard to do, it's hard to do.
You're speaking about in the terms of like, you know, like on X Factor, they'll be like, I mean, there's everybody will try and be polite apart from Simon Cowell. He'll be like, oh, that was terrible. Yeah. But that's all you get. You're not going to get a bottle in your head.
Believe me, or a brick. Them when they're serious, that was a serious time, you know what I mean? You couldn't play games, man.
And that's still true to modern day, you know what I mean? Is that if you're good, you will get the respect.
And those days we had to do the work because you had to go from place to place to place to place to get known because there was no internet. Now, obviously, you just do things in your bedroom. It's all good. The whole world's seen you.
Did you not find yourself a sound system and that's my sound that I chat on?
No, I had my own sound. I built a sound called
sound.
Fantasy Sound. I have to pick up the man's name, you know, Jabba Irie, Juxi Demas, Yardi, you know what I mean? And the Turkish
And they were
brother,
tooting bass sound system.
David Boomer.
Oh, David was on there, yeah?
100%.
Oh, right,
Me and David, we used to move like this as well. He was another brethren, you know, that I used to move with at a certain time.
From what age was this?
It was in my late teens.
So let's get it straight. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
1990.
I remember how I met him now.
I
remember how. So what happened? I was doing tapes, and I love Papa San. Right? I mean, I used to love him to the point that I could imitate him, and I would sound like Papa San. So Boomer was living with his auntie in Balham, and there was a guy called Terry Bruley, you know what I mean, big up Terry, and he was, I think, dating his auntie. So Boomer, he came from Yard, obviously, but he was born in Birmingham, right? But he came from Jamaica, and he was like, "There's no English DJ we can move with." You know what I mean? All of them are rubbish. That's what he said. He just thought all of them were rubbish. So Terry's like, "Boy, I got somebody." He goes, "Who's that?" He goes, "Oh, something like this. This is the story he told me. I'll bring a tape." So he bring a tape and he put it in. He goes, Boomer's like, and Boomer's a very educated guy, right? He can tell the artist just listening to them. He's a person that will read the films, you know, like the film thing. When the film's done, I don't redo the art. Like you don't remember names. He knows the art, the actors, the singers, and he knows Papa San. So he goes, "This is Papa San with some new lyrics." The man goes, "No, it's not." He goes, "You're lying. It's Papa San that you can't fool me." He goes, "No, it's not." He goes, "He's an Indian." But he said, "What do you mean?" He said, "No way." He said, "No way." He goes, "It's an Indian you." He goes, "No way." He goes, and he's in tune. He said, "What?" He said, "All right, take me to him." So
really?
So I had my sound system in my bedroom. And what we should do is to bunk school. Right? I never go to school. You know, leave some when I. This isn't school time. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. You've gone back a bit. Yeah.
He came to my yard. He met me that day. We done a tape. He said, "This is my DJ." And from that day, me and Boomer moved like this. Do you see him in some clips that when he was there when Nuttah came through, you know what I mean? And that's how he came into the jungle scene as well a bit because he was my singer, you know, he's a singer guy. I done a bit of both. I done the singing bit and the rapping bit, but I didn't like my singing. I mean, even though on Nuttah you can see there's two, people thought it's two different people. I introduced him to Shy FX and stuff like that, and obviously after we get him moving, but so I used to move with Boomer, but Boomer was in the sound system before, so we had the sound, you know, fantasy sound we call it.
Fantasy sound,
yeah, man.
Right, okay.
So, but I was still chatting other sounds.
Like
when I went to Canada, chatting that sound there, they took me to a dance.
So you're convinced now. This is who I am.
Yeah.
This is what I'm gonna be.
I was strong.
I'm just waiting for an outlet. You know what I mean? Any outlet, I'll go with it for now. All right. So then.
And go to studio. I used to go studio and record tracks. But the tracks, like, unless I put them out myself, because the next track I'd after Pole Tax was making ripples in the scene. I didn't know because you don't know what's going on. There's no way to know if anything. I just thought I'd just come out. It never done nothing, but it did do a little bit. The next track I done was called Bogle Rock. When the Bogle dance came, Buju Banton had the best one. My one, it was written in the, I think the Voice paper as the second best Bogle tune.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it started to get play on Choice FM.
Mm.
And I done it with a guy called Spider Johnson.
So could you remember what year that was?
This is definitely before 1994 because Nuttah came out in 1994.
Right, so there you go.
Poll Tax came out in 1990.
Right, so that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Because you said that Poll Tax had come out in 1990.
Yeah.
For me, I kind of like, unlike yourself, you know what I mean? The way how I like work with my memory, I have to think of big things to kind of bring me back to a time span.
Yeah.
And when you say 1990, I know by that time the rave scene had already started.
Right. Yeah.
You're right. So I'm like, okay, so the
Yeah.
rave
I'm not
scene
in the rave scene now.
No,
I'm
that's
in
what I'm
the
saying.
I'm in the reggae scene.
Yeah, so you're in the reggae scene. So that's
all I know about.
1990. And now you've said the Bogle tune
Walking
came
around like
out
a yardie.
just before 1994.
Yeah.
This time now Jungle's popping.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Fully blowing up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? By 94.
No, but 94 is blow. Yeah, I didn't know there was a sound system. Obviously, I used to go Carnival, obviously, because that's the best place you can get your name out there. You know what I mean? Check gallon, whatever you're gonna do. You know what I mean? So that was just a normal for me. I'm young. I'm going there, and there was a sound, obviously, Lord Gelly sound. Big up the Lord Gelly man them. And basically, they played Poll Tax, right? So okay, so I've got now Bogle Rock, yeah, and I've taken it down there. And they're like, yeah, man, do this thing. And there was always there was a crew that used to come around there as well from my ends, like Ninja Security man, them were there, and they were always having my back and all this kind of thing. They were local man them who became security guys, and now they're all doing their own thing. And I've gone on there and I've done Bogle Rock, and it's just mashed the whole place up, right? And I think, okay, things are moving, but I still don't know about Jungle yet.
Yeah, so you don't know about Jungle, but this is 93 now.
Yeah,
so
or
this
92, 93, I think,
Okay, yeah, 92, 93,
I think so, yeah.
So then now we're getting to the UK Apache that we know.
Yeah.
What was your name at that time
Right,
when all those
yeah,
tunes came out?
So the first name I had was just Apache because I was calling myself Apache Indian
Yeah.
at the beginning. And then obviously Apache Indian came out from Birmingham, right? And he had a big tune, you know what I mean? And it was growing. I never forget there was a clash one time, or they called it the Clash of the Apaches, right? In Leicester Square. Right, there's a nightclub down there. It's still the same club, but they changed the names. You know, it's about right in the middle of the square and you go downstairs.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, but they had this massive thing, right? And I'm telling you, it was jam. So they had Supercat, the original Apache. They had Apache Indian, and they had me. And the thing is, when Apache Indian done his...
That must have been an all right little dance.
Let me tell you, it was ram, right? But hear the joke now. So when Apache Indian came, and I thought, oh my God, this guy's got this name and he's blown. I said, right, what can I call myself now? Because I have to change my name. But I can't call myself. But I haven't blown yet, so not really people know me. I'm thinking, well, you know what? I'm born in the UK. I'm going to keep the Apache because I love that. I'm going to call myself UK Apache. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, originally I work with it. But yeah, so I've gone to this clash and they're announcing the people. They say, yeah, we've got a Supercat. I mean, we've got Apache in it. We've got UK Apache. Not one noise, just one clap. This is the struggle. One clap, you know, and the place is round. I'm like, you know, I'm always the underdog, right? They're calling me to go up, but I can't find the door because it's so ram. So Apache Indian's gone up as well before me, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, he's gone into his thing. So I've gone up there now, and I'm doing the Poll Tax tune, but it's not really getting a response. So I'm a live man, so I'm like, shut that down. And I had this lyrics that I made up just the day before about South Africa, and it was a bit like this: ease off, President Botha, watch the ride. I chew you free Mandela, man, you think they fight it over. We not done in a South Africa. Bro, the place went mad. I just said, respect, and I run off. And Yardi was with me, he was trying to kiss my hand. Supercat was there, because all the bad man around him. Yeah. But I just smashed the place with that little live thing. You know what I mean? Not even the song that I even recorded, but I was good at live because I came from Sound System. Sound System was live. You know what I mean? And yeah, so that was that. So now I'm just UK Apache. Yeah. And I still don't know Jungle yet, but
yeah. So then walk me into that then. So then how do we get into Jungle? Because for me, I don't know. I didn't even think about it. I just thought, you know what? I'm gonna find out about it.
Okay, so basically, I'm living with Boomer. Me and Boomer sharing a place. You know what I mean? Because we're brethren.
I didn't know that you looked that close. Never
Man,
knew. You would
bro,
know, would I?
We were proper close. You know what I mean? And we're still, you know, cool. We're cool.
Yeah.
But we don't move again like that. Because
Yeah.
everybody's doing their own thing. So basically, and things happens, and you know, your directions or whatever. So I'm living with Boomer, and there's a guy who's a manager. His name's Sam Carroll. And he was managing a guy called Mushtaq, who was a big...
I remember Mushtaq, yeah.
Okay.
I know Mushtaq personally,
There you go.
yeah.
So basically, Mushtaq had a track called Take Me Home or Come. I can't remember the name.
He's more singy, wasn't he, Mushtaq?
Yeah.
He's like a singer,
And I
like
think
R&B kind of vibes.
he's
yeah.
seen me somewhere perform, and he's gone to Sam like, get this guy. So Sam's come to look for me, and I'm just free. I'm not with nobody. And Sam's like, yeah, I'm a manager and blah blah. I'm like, okay, this is what I need. And he goes, I want you to do this track with Mushtaq. And I done a little thing with Mushtaq, and I put the vocals down. You know what I mean? And that was that. And then one day Sam comes with a jungle track for me. And I'm hearing a bit of jungle because on my road as well at that time, where my mum lived still at that time, there was guys, jungle was circulating a little bit now. It was coming. So you had the helicopter tune. I mean, one of the first jungle tunes I heard. So Sam comes to me and says, I got a link in the jungle scene with a guy called Potential Bad Boy, Paul Ibiza. Yeah. So I'm like, and what they want to do, they want to record live vocalists. They don't want to sample no more. So you got good vocal. I can hook it up. I said, all right, they're cool. So I think down where
Sam Carroll, right?
yeah, Sam Carroll, you must know him.
No, I must know that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
it's an old name.
Yeah, he's big.
It's an old memory, but I do remember the name. Yeah. I do feel like I've met him. Yeah.
He links me up with Potential Bad Boy in a studio, which was near the Rocket or near the women's prison. There was a road down. There was a studio down there where Potential was working, and the first tune I done was called Every Man Has a Right. And they started, obviously, Paul Ibiza was big. He had his raves called In the Rocket as well. I can't remember the name of the rave though. It was called
Jungle something. Yeah.
Jungle Splash. Yeah. That's right.
Jungle Splash.
So he started to, they pressed that really quick, and that started to get me a little bit of a, people hearing my voice, and he said, come down on, and do a PA. And that's funny because it was on the road that Kiss FM used to be down.
Yeah, on Holloway Road.
Yeah, so that's the Rocket as well. Yeah,
that's right.
And that's my first jungle PA there.
Right.
On my birthday it was actually. It was really weird.
Okay.
And I done my thing, but he was like, it wasn't the perfect PA.
Yeah.
Not like I perform reggae because I'm getting used to. I don't know the scene.
Yeah.
First time I'm seeing what jungle is, and I'm thinking, oh, jungle is mad because I'm thinking this is what we wanted. Being UK Apache now, and trying to connect to my British roots. I knew that reggae came from Jamaica. And obviously hip hop came from America, but jungle was British. So I felt very connected to it, and the name UK Apache. Obviously I didn't know what was coming next, by God, original Nuttah, yeah? So I'm doing a PA there, and who sees me? Shy FX, right? He's in the crowd. Obviously I don't see him. I do my thing. And then Sam comes with this other record, Gangster Kid. Now for me, I write lyrics and I just keep them in my head. Because sometimes I do vocals and just sit and the rhythm never come out. So I'm going to use that vocal on another track. So I had original Nuttah written already in my head. And I remember doing it one time on my sound system. And one guy, Juxi Demas, who's an artist as well, big up Juxi, he was like, this is bad. You need to do something. And I'm like, yeah, I know he's going to want this on reggae. Because I was trying to do things on reggae as well, and it was difficult, and I wasn't really getting a lot of love. But it was coming slowly. So he comes with this tune, Gangster Kid. And obviously you've got Gunsmoke on it, and he's doing, and I'm playing this tune upstairs in the flat now I'm living now with Boomer. I got the sound system. Boomer wasn't there that time. I'm just playing to myself. And in between the gaps, I'm like, and I'm thinking, this is bad, it'd be nice to, hook up. So Sam's like, yeah, we got a meeting with them anyway. I goes, yeah, we got a meeting with Shy FX and his management and stuff like that, and they want you, they'll have a meeting. So I said, cool. We had this meeting with Dave Stone, Shy FX, Andre. Was a young boy that time. Andre was young. But I didn't know he was young. I didn't think, because I'm young as well, a younger man, I'm about 27, but Shy was, I can't remember, 20, no, he was 17. Something like that. Or something. I know he was too young to go to the rave, to any raves. Well, I found out later. And they're like, yeah, we want you to do something, I'm like, yeah, that's probably, but I want to do something called a Gangster Kid with them. They don't know what I want to do. All they thinking about is the new thing. Because to them, Gangster Kid's already come and gone. But they don't know what I'm going to give them, right? Even I didn't know what I was going to give them. So the studio was booked in Victoria. That time, I don't know, you know that studio in Victoria? Yeah. Sour Records. Or
of course, I'll pick up Dave and all that, man.
Yeah, going way back in. I've said, right, give me a rhythm. And just give me a rhythm. And I'd done something new, and that never came out, right? And I said, give me that Gangster Kid rhythm. And in 2 takes, I laid down Nuttah. That's how I do it. I just do it off the top of my head, like 1 take for the intro. I do intros like that, bang, bang. So, and I think Shai was saying when he first saw me, he thought, who's this cocky guy? But when I delivered, and then I remember one of the guys, I think he's passed away now, but he said, do you want to hear back your recording? And I said, no. He said, what? I said, no. He goes, you are one now, innit? I goes, yeah, I don't want to hear it. Because I was shy of my singing. I mean, the singing part. I didn't like my singing, but I just knew this is what I wanted to do on this track. I like more my chatting. Me, I didn't know. I like that, and I felt more confident in that. I've left the studio in about 2 hours. The whole studio, and I've gone home thinking I'm going to get in trouble now. And now Sam's ringing off my phone. And he's ringing. I'm like, oh my God, okay. So I answer the phone. He goes, yeah, Sam, I'm sorry. He goes, what do you do? What do you do? Because you're African. I go, what do you do? I go, what do you mean, what do I do? He goes, no, they're going crazy. I said, I know, I'm sorry, I left the studio. He goes, no, they're going mad down there. I said, what are you talking about? Because I've recorded so many tracks and nothing really happened with them. So just to me, it was just like another track. Nothing's going to happen. You know what I mean? It's just going to be as normal, probably put on the side, or, you know what I mean? Or come out and it'll just be, calm down, they're going mad. Like, I'm like, all right, I'll come down. So I think I came down and they just said this. I said, okay, we'll see. So that evening, that weekend was a big jungle wave. I'm sure you was on the bill. I'm sure he's on the bill.
Yeah.
Because we never met. I always heard about you all the time.
Yeah, we never met.
So,
Yeah.
Because, you know, as you know, the jungle, me coming in the jungle scene, they had their own communities where they had their own, you know, they were, where the people were controlling it.
I wouldn't say use the word control, but
yeah,
you know, it's, you know.
In a say controlling, like they would back who they needed to, like, or who they wanted. That's how it felt, you know. And you had to come in the right way, as you know. Generally, when General Lever came in, and certain things were said, it was taken in different ways, you know. All this politics. So there was all this politics, but me, I'm just coming in because obviously I loved jungle that time. You know what I mean? I loved it. I wanted to do my message through jungle, and I wanted to push the music. You know what I mean? And push my career and go forward. You know. So I'm coming in that pure-hearted guy, like, you know, but I'm finding out there's a lot of things going on, right? And obviously this is God's will that I'm getting brought in because Shy FX already established, potential bad boy, legendary producers, you know what I mean? And obviously Paul Abifa, legendary in the game, you know, his promotion and he had his record shop.
And his record label before them,
yeah,
all of that.
Yeah, so they played it. So that weekend was the big jungle rave. And I didn't go. And I heard Shy FX couldn't go anyway because he was too young. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
But he told me a story about him as well. It was really funny that how he was going to leave that thing. He was just on work experience.
At Sour?
Yes.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, if you get him on, he'll tell you that story. I don't want to talk about his own stories, but yeah, there's a lot of things that involve. It's just weird. I never knew about that story about him. But,
yeah, there's so many stories that we don't know about each other. Like you know, this is the beauty of the person sat in the chair, like revealing. Yeah.
So that weekend, I'd done a few dubs for the top man then, and I couldn't go to sleep because I never seen so quickly a white label get pressed. You know, before I had to wait for ages till these things happen. All of a sudden, bang! They've done the white label. They've given the dubs to the main man them, and they played it in, and the next morning, it's gone off. And now they're saying this tune is getting rewind 10 times. Now I'm thinking, okay, things are happening now. Now Sal's like, right, you've got 5 interviews there. And I'm like, well, this is I'm not used to this, you know, like this is going to be a tune that's going to. So things are really changing for me now. And what comes with a hit comes a lot of problems. And this is where all things went it came up and it just went down. So I'm now thinking, right, so now I'm getting shows all over the place to perform Nuttah. And I'm getting interviews on Kiss FM. I had a mad interview on Kiss FM. And I remember walking into Kiss FM as well, and David Radigan was there. I never met him. And Sam knew him, and he's like, oh, is that Apache done? He goes, yeah. He goes, and Sam, he goes, I'm gonna bring him on. Just a quick thing. So he brings me on just as he's coming on live, and he says to me, oh, we've got UK Apache in there. And he goes, tell me something. Who does the singing on this tune? This is me. And he goes, who does the rapping? This is me. He goes, what are you? The original Nuttah. And he plays it. So now this tune is making, you know, is making ripples. It's getting bigger and bigger. And it became like Kiss FM are just supporting it. I remember I'd done this interview on Kiss FM on The Word. And basically, the woman's giving me a great interview all the way. Until she comes to the end, she goes, are we going to have any more anti-homo sexual lyrics from me? And I went, what are you talking about? I was at an event like years ago. This woman actually remembered an event that I was at.
A jungle event or a
no,
reggae event?
This
right,
is yeah. And I heard one of your lyrics was like really, you know, against certain things, and I said, look, I don't know what you're talking about, and I walked out.
Yeah.
And the producers came of the show, and they said, oh, we're really sorry, Apache, you know, we won't have that, and she needs to apologise because Kiss FM was promoting that record, and it was just about to be released. and they didn't want it to be affected in any way, you know. Whatever she's talking about, I got no idea. But well, I mean, I'm sure it probably was something or something. I don't know, because as we go through life, you know, we get involved in many types of, you know, things that sometimes probably we don't think about or whatever. But anyway, it was just weird. So now Nuttah's really blowing up, and deals are coming on the table. And that's the funny thing. That's how I found out about your podcast actually. Through somebody said to me, "Oh, Det's on this podcast, and he's mentioned your name." So I went to look when you done MC Det. And he mentioned, oh yeah, and Apache and Shy FX, they got a deal. And I thought, he got that wrong. Shy FX took the deal, but I never took the deal. The deal was offered to me, but I refused it. And I remember Shy saying, I really respect you. And I said, why? He goes, because you were offered money, but you walked away from the money. I said, yeah, because people were stealing money behind my back. So this was what happened. So that's why people never saw an album from me and just thought, oh, you just had one track. But I didn't have one track. I had other tracks coming, but I walked away from it. And it all kind of, and some of my friends were really upset about that. They were like, are you crazy? You're going to walk away? I said, no, it's just not right. And I said, if it's meant to come back, it will come back. Well, that deal never came back, but the track lived on.
What you're saying is that at that particular time, this record is blowing up.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's going to be a deal on the table.
100%.
Around that time, there was,
there was many deals.
There was a lot of deals going around.
Because at first, when they went to the record labels, they didn't want to care about jungle. They're like, "What's this rubbish? Like, or, you know, what is this?
Yeah.
Not rubbish, but it's not commercial." And then obviously, when they saw how it was building, 20,000 people going to the raves, it's getting more commercial.
Well, it was the youth culture of that time, and so they had no choice but to do it.
Yeah, 100%.
But what's really interesting for me is what you said just then when you said about how money was being taken from behind your back.
Yes.
And that was the reason why you didn't take the deal.
Yes.
Because so walk me through that. Talk me about the money taken behind your back, and then talk me about why would that therefore make you not take the deal?
Yeah. You know, I found out that deals were going on behind my back, and then other deals were offering to me. So I don't want to go, like, obviously mentioning names too much, because I've kind of made peace with these people now. Tried to sort things out, because Original Nuttah has been in dispute all these years, still to today, with regards to, you know, the vocals and the beat and and many things. And that's what happens with a hit. But so this is when a hit comes, it does have issues, definitely, always, most of the time. So when I found this out, it obviously upset me. Now I couldn't trust no one. I was angry with my manager. I was angry with Sam, my manager Sam. I was angry with Dave Stone. I was like, this is just liberties, you know. I mean, it's just that, you know, I'm trying to be an artist here, and everybody's been a snake. But that's the game, isn't it, really? And I didn't know the industry on the. I trusted people and stuff like that. So when all that happened, I said to myself, right, I'm walking away, and not knowing that things would move on anyway. And I walked away, and I just said, right, I wasn't a drinker or a smoker, so I wouldn't turn to drugs or drink, which a lot of people do when they go through issues. But for me, it made me look into myself, and then I knew what my religion was already, but I started to look into my faith more, you know, and that's what I did. And then the record label said I went mad because I didn't have a beard that time. I grew my beard, which is fashionable now. Actually, it's really weird. All those years I had my beard there, and I said I want to be more religious in my music. I want to change my name from UK Apache to my real name, Abdul Wahab. And there was a few interviews I did, and some of my friends were begging me like, "Oh no, you know, you've gone so far, and you know, you're going to walk away from this." I don't regret it, because it's the will of the creator, and whatever the creator wills for me is the best decision. But some people say it maybe not have been the best, like, you know, in a sense of a business move.
Yeah, but they're not living your life.
100%.
Do you get what I mean?
But I understand where they come from.
Yeah, but they're looking from a different lens.
Yes.
Entirely different
Which
lens.
sometimes, the funny thing, that's what a manager does and an artist does. You know, some people, they have managers. So managers will look at it, look, there's this going on, but we can get this type of thing. I mean, well, artists, they get emotional, and they're like, you know what, nah, you know, forget it. You know what I mean? But anyway, it's done now. So it was a very testing time for me. It was difficult.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It was very hard, because it was my dream. And I had so much things I wanted to do.
Yeah, there's something that you said, you know, like, and that's how the business is.
Yeah.
Yeah. A deal, I say this quite commonly, a deal is a deal is a deal. There's nothing written in stone. Somebody gives you a piece of paper and says, well, look, you know something, sign this. Or you're going to go and do 100 gigs at X amount per gig, and you have somebody who's handling that for you. In this modern time, were you to have the brain you had now,
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't matter that it could be the same deal,
Yeah.
it could be the same guy handling your business for you,
Yeah.
but you would have handled it different.
Definitely.
You'd be, how much is the gig?
Yeah.
The gig is this, show me.
Exactly.
Okay, this is what it is, this is what it is,
I
show
mean-
me the paperwork. Now every gig I'm going to, I'm doing the math.
Yeah.
Right? What's this deal?
I was in a war between two people because what happened in this record, there were two labels that was involved in it. So they were at each other really, and I was in between, in a sense, you know. And they were all promising me different things. If you see, one would say this, the other one would say that. And it was very confusing.
Yes, it's unfortunate you had to go through that. It really, really is. But it's like the early days, perhaps, of the wild, wild west.
Yes.
Right? Money's being made.
Yeah.
And then the greed comes in. And unfortunately, at that point, if you don't have a way of handling that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because when I was watching that podcast with you, what you did with Det, and he said he's the first one to make like a MC album. I don't know if my album would have come out before, but the reason I didn't do an album, but I never classed myself as an MC. I wasn't MC. I would class myself more as they're all recording artists, but I didn't do MCing. What I would do is tracks that I record as songs and I perform them live. So I'm a PA. They used to bring you up as a PA. So me, it's just 2 minutes where the MC would be on there. I did do a bit of MC, but MCing wasn't really my thing because I came from reggae chatting anyway, and I'd done a lot of that, the live, but we would always make songs to put out there. But I would have probably been one of the first recording artists coming through Jungle, and maybe I've even thrown the flag for Jungle as an artist coming through from that type of style, reggae style and stuff like that. I would have been one of the first. My album would have been called The Voice of the UK. We had a next track called Junglist Girls that was coming by a guy called Soundman. There was mixes by Potential Bad Boy, Shy FX done a mix. It was all there. We had we had Smash Hits, that magazine.
Yeah.
I was going to be centre page of Smash Hits. Them days I could have been. And it was all there, but I said no, it just wasn't right, and I walked away.
Were you doing a two fingers up to the industry out of frustration because you didn't know how to handle the situation?
Probably, yeah. I mean, if I had somebody on my camp that could, that I trusted, it may have gone different. But it was written that way, and then I found out many things how the jungle scene was working anyway, because I think it was difficult. I always used to feel that people weren't supporting me as an artist as well in the jungle scene. When other tracks were coming. What happens is, even with the original Nuttah, people sometimes think, oh, that's a commercial tune. But it's not. It came from the street. But it came and it went above. Like, some people didn't like jungle.
That's a nonsense. That's nonsense. Anybody who's thinking that was a commercial tune, then they don't know the business at all.
I think over the years, because I've seen some comments on, I watch things.
Doesn't matter. I mean, there are going to be comments. There'll be comments about this conversation right now.
Oh, definitely.
But it's not about that. In my opinion, you're going to have people have different things. They say that tune was a straight up jungle tune.
Yeah, but
end of story. There's nothing to do.
I think
just because it became commercially viable doesn't. Yeah, by definition, it's commercial. But then you could say that about Helicopter.
Yeah.
What are you going to say? Is Helicopter a commercial tune now?
Yeah.
It's nonsense.
I think the reason why they wouldn't class probably Helicopter as a problem because it didn't have a vocal, so the beat alone will make it more hardcore.
Well, then that shows the naivety of the person saying commercial.
This is what where I think at one stage my type of songs, whatever, like Junglist Girls, I don't think they saw it as. I think they were trying to. There was a movement, and I saw it as well in the interview you done with DJ Rap or whatever. She was saying they had a meeting at one stage, which you never knew about, and to water out some types of music because of what was coming with it, the negative vibes and the gangster thing and all that was coming with it, that kind of reggae thing, right? So that would have been watering me out anyway.
But that didn't happen at that time, and this is a very interesting thing.
I remember getting told many times that it's very difficult to get love from DJs to support.
All of that is all myth, yeah? It's all myth, and I'm going to say that now on camera, yeah? There's this myth. It's a myth that, they're not supporting it. They're not, I mean, Det says it to me. I mean, I've had a conversation with him even very recently.
I think there is some truth up to a point.
There is no bunch of top DJs sitting in a room going, we're not going to play that. That may have happened then.
Yeah,
in that moment.
Yeah.
In that tiny window of the history of our scene. But historically as a DJ,
Yeah.
so I'm talking about in the history of DJs,
Yeah.
that's nonsense.
Yeah. Why that happened, I think, as well, because it was getting out of control. Like you said, the majors were coming in.
But we're just talking about that moment.
Yeah.
You were not speaking about that. You were speaking about
I'm
before
saying-
that even happened.
Yeah.
Before that even happened, you had a feeling that DJs were not supporting you. Yeah? Is that right?
Well, the scene had like top people, and you knew that if you had to make a track those days, right, to be successful, the DJs had to play it, not like now.
You know, you're right.
Yeah.
It's still the same.
Yeah.
It's still the same. Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah. I mean, I think now it's a bit of a mixture. I mean, you need some DJs to play, but
You need
also-
support.
You have
Yeah,
YouTube now, TikTok, all these things. So once you throw a tune in and it gets big, now the record label, there are some need for record labels, but not as much as before. You can do everything yourself now.
Yeah, of
Rosie.
course, yeah.
But they still can help you. They look at the TikTok views now, and it depends on that if they're going to take you up or back you. Back in the day, you had to get DJs to support you, otherwise, forget it. And this is where they didn't want it to be too commercial. I remember having an argument live on an interview with Shy FX, right? We done an interview and we argued about where we want our music to go. And he was like, oh, he's changed his mind now because when you grow up, everybody sees. I had that understanding of my music. I said, I want my music to go everywhere, from the ghetto, from the underground to above. Shy was like, nah, I just want it to be, from the underground, and that's it. And the interviewer, as we're arguing, the interviewer put that whole thing in the
Paper.
yeah.
Oh, so it was an interview that was to be in the press.
Yeah, in the press.
Yeah.
And they put a little picture of Shine. They put a big picture of me, which is I mean, he's changed his mind now. I'm sure he's he's a whole different because
I mean, we were let's say we were. I'm including myself. We were young. There's loads of things that I've said when I was much younger.
Definitely.
Related to our scene that I no longer believe. But at the time I believed it. Nothing wrong with that.
I mean, as an artist, I think when you're moving in that direction, you move to a different direction. If the underground's not supporting you, you're in a different world now.
Yeah.
So you get supported on radio
Yeah.
and stuff like that, then more than DJs.
Yeah.
And once that time to get on radio was a big thing, to be on Radio 1. Now your tune's going to get, you can get that sells the...
It's a very different industry, it's a very different climate, it's very different artists, everything's very different to what it was then. And to be honest with you, I understand it, and I can look back with hindsight, and I understand why things were like that, because it came from the underground. We don't know the commercial world, and so we were all very protective and passionate about what we'd created.
Yes.
You were not from that world.
No.
Do you know what I mean? So you're like, I want everyone to know about it.
Yeah.
Why do I just want you lot to know? I want everybody to know.
Definitely. For me, it wasn't just about the music. It was about my message. Because I'd done songs like Take Heed and Take Check. It had a message in it.
There you go. And you had messages.
I had
that you
messages
wanted
I wanted to
get
put
out.
through.
You're from a family of people who are like Nelson Mandela, for crying out loud.
I done a tune about Nelson Mandela. So, with Shy FX done a drum and bass mix and and stuff. It came out on the CD with Nuttah. It was there. So I was always throwing, even when people ask me what is an original Nuttah, that was always asked me. So I used to say, look, it can be a bad man, but my idea of original Nuttah was somebody who achieves their goals. And in the video, if you see the video, we David Boomer drew, because he was very artistic in drawing as well. He's got a lot of talents, that guy. And he would draw pictures of like Nelson Mandela, Gandhi, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. My grandfather, he drew a picture, and we flashed it in the video to show these are the original
Nutters.
Yeah. But whoever achieves that, I mean, there's many Nutters. There's only one original Nutter, that's me. But these are the ones that whoever achieves their goals. That's what a Nutter is. You know what I mean? And I was trying to change it into, because obviously when people were fighting in the club at one time, when Nuttah come on, they would just go mental. And Bad Boys took it up at one stage back in the day.
Yeah.
Now you laugh because the lyrics are so just kind of jokeable. Better than the bad boy called the Darth Vader, Luck after Jedi, where you call Skywalker. You know what I mean? But,
What then followed after that period?
Well, after that period, then I started to look into myself, because I think anybody who gets affected by something that really, affects them in their life, you dream for this career, you have a mission, you have a goal, you have a dream, then you have to walk away from it. Makes you start thinking deeply, what is life? And the purpose of life and the real meaning. I was always, I was always a Muslim, I always believed in God, but I didn't really, my mum always tried to teach me about the faith, but I was a bit of a rebel as well. And I started to look into my faith deeper, and that's when my journey really into Islam became more serious. Started to study and just started to practice really. I didn't really know how to practice properly. I just used to know that you have to go to the Eid prayer, the celebration, which is called Eid, and do that. And once a year, once I'd done that, I felt good. I felt like the year was going to be good. But then learning now Islam, learning about the rules of Islam, or the actions you're meant to do to fulfill being a true Muslim, or when I wouldn't say a true, because there's only one true Muslim, the Prophet, peace be upon him, but trying to follow his example and stuff like that, praying 5 times a day, learning how to pray properly, learning about the Quran, the book of Islam, and about the fasting in the Ramadan, and the 5 pillars basically.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, when you said it, you said it just like that. You said it just in quite passing, actually. But from 1 minute you're doing a PA at Jungle Fever,
Yeah.
or Jungle Splash, or wherever it is, yeah. And then you're like, I'm fed up of this, you know what I mean? Like, this is the last time this is going to happen to me. I'm coming away from there. And you used the term that you looked into yourself.
Yeah.
But was there anything quite specific that you could say, well, and it was at that point that it dawned on me, or did something happen, or were you going to particular places?
There's a group called the Tablighis. I don't know if you've heard about them, but yeah, they're probably one of the biggest Muslim groups. And they go around knocking on people's doors and inviting, reminding the Muslims about the goodness of attending the local mosque. Whereas the word for mosque is masjid, really. So they came knocking on my door one day, just as this me walking away from the career and all this kind of thing. And I used to kind of like avoid them. My mum used to say to me, no, go and answer the door. So I answered the door. And when I opened the door, they was like, oh, salam alaikum, brother. Okay, yeah, wa alaikum salam. So what's your name? I said, well, my name's Abdul Wahab. They're like, oh, mashallah, that's great. I'm sure everybody knows these words now, because Islam is really big now. It's it's over the years, it's been known, not through the best things that people make it know through media, but they learn about it now. That's why so much people become a Muslim. But they said, where are you? And I said, well, I'm here. He goes, no, I mean, we don't see you at the masjid. I said, oh, okay, yeah. He goes, you need to come. It's me, yeah, I come. I goes, when? He goes, oh, yeah, come now. I goes, now. And my mum's like, go. And that time as well, David Boomer as well, he was like with me, and he was in the house at that time, because we were very close still. And we went to, he said, let's go. So we went to the masjid, and I started to go there on a regular. They have this thing where they go away for a few days or something to reflect and to learn Islam, and also invite other people. So they call it 3 days. So I went with them for 3 days. I didn't know what 3 days was. They said, come for 3 days. So I went with them on this trip. And it's sometimes just local, sometimes abroad. And, we learnt more of the Quran, more knowledge a little bit. And that was good. And this was my journey. So one time I was in the masjid with them, because they're a massive group. They're known worldwide. I'm not saying I'm a tablighi. I don't align myself with any group exactly, but that's kind of how it kind of began. But my mum, like I said, she used to take me to school, Islamic classes and lessons. They call it madrasa. But I was very naughty that time. I used to run away when she used to take me. I run out and all this kind of things at early age. But I always believed in God. So one time they said to me, oh, but, they asked me, like, what did I used to do or that. So I told them, I used to sing and that. And they said, well, you used to sing? Yeah. There's okay, well, do some singing. I said, what, in the masjid? And it was only them little group. And they goes, yeah, it's okay, no music. Because some people in Islam, they don't, believe in the music. But lyrics, as long as they're positive and stuff, they're fine with that. They call it a nasheed. So I'd done this one called Assalamu alaikum and they loved that. So then they said to me, can you do adhan? The call. So I went, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And I said, oh my God, mashallah, you're the mu'adhin. So the mu'adhin is the person who calls the adhan. So I became the muaddin in the masjid, right? So I'll be calling the adhan like every Friday because on a Friday we gather, you know, we have the gathering like Christians on a Sunday. But I didn't give up music then. Again, I was still involved in music, but I just took a break from the mainstream kind of thing. And I walked away from my manager at that time, which was Sam Cowell, because I had problems with him. And I had another manager. But it was funny. So in the daytime, I'd be like, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And in the nighttime, I'd be like, Nani ni wa, and I lived this life for many years.
Oh, really? Right.
For many years.
Okay.
So I was practicing. Now I found my faith, like, and I could, you know how to pray properly. I knew it was 5 times you have to pray. You have to fast in Ramadan. And there's other things, you know, learning how to read the Arabic and all this kind of thing. I still wasn't thinking that I'm going to leave music. I'm just going to do more positive songs, even though I wanted to do that in the first place. So obviously, Junglist Girls was out the window and all this kind of thing. But but I was practicing and stuff as I was performing. Yeah, so if I went anywhere, like, you know, I'd pray in my room, you know, or sometimes, because I worked with a band as well called Bad Master Street for a few years. They're a big, massive band. And we had a track called Signs, which eventually there was a drum and bass mix by Caliber.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. When I left the scene, I was working with Bad Master Street. It was a totally different type of scene. This is live band now I'm working with.
I know a tune called Signs by Caliber.
Yeah.
It's a big tune.
Me say no.
Yeah.
People in that sorrow. Thinking about today.
No.
What type of
and
life?
Right, I live in murderation.
Yeah, that was me.
Right, I didn't know that.
Exactly, because my name wasn't mentioned.
Know that.
My name wasn't mentioned. You see, this is
But did you want it to be mentioned?
Of course. Why
and
not?
It wasn't mentioned in
No.
them? Really?
No.
I didn't know that was you.
But the people
That's a big tune.
Massive.
Big tune.
And that's going on in the drum and bass scene. But I'm not in the drum and bass scene. I'm with the band, working with bands. And I thought, this is different. You know?
Killing icing. Yeah. Big tune.
Yeah, big tune. Big mix. Caliber smashed it.
Caliber
he
done
smashed
a
it.
big mix of that.
And everybody liked that tune. But the thing is, I didn't know how that was blowing up the drum and bass scene because I was working with the band and we was doing all band gigs, you know, around the world. We done really a lot of gigs, and we done even Jules Holland live once, the Jules Holland live show. So I was living this life, you know. I was working as an artist, and I was practicing my faith. Though people don't think that, they only think that I was really practicing when I gave up. I walked away from music. When I studied a bit deeper about the rules on music, you know, I took the opinion that obviously the music, the instruments and stuff like that, and the surroundings, you know, it's not permissible really for me to be in. But I was practicing and performing.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're still performing.
Yeah.
But you're practicing.
I haven't stopped properly yet.
Yeah, and you're practicing, but you've come away from it, and as time, the more you've understood it, you've recognised, well, you know something.
I have to leave this.
I have to kind of leave it and whatever, and I'm doing it in a certain way.
But obviously, it was paying my bills, and I'm trying to leave it. And then one day, my mum, she had diabetes anyway, and one day she got really ill or something, so she went to hospital, and they had to put a stent in her, and then they found out she had cancer of the pancreas.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah, and they gave her 3 months to live, but she lived for 1 year, you know, alhamdulillah, you know, and I was there from the beginning to the end. And when she told me that, I said, right, I'm going to leave this scene. I had so much gigs. I just done a gig in Poland. It was one of the best gigs I ever had.
And this was for that band?
No,
or
this
was the jungle?
Yeah, I would do gigs with the band and also do my own personal UK Apache gigs.
Okay, yeah.
So it was mixture. Yeah, because I wasn't living at my mum's. I was living in my own place. I had to pay the rent and stuff like that. So, and I was studying more about Islam, but I haven't still gone deep yet. I'm just doing little bits because I'm busy working.
Yeah. Sorry. So were you saying that you were doing your own personal gigs as UK Apache, doing this is with nobody else? This is I'm UK Apache, so you can book me.
Yeah. And also, I started to work with DJ Fantasy.
Okay, right, okay.
I don't know how I met him, but he's gonna be. But I met him somehow, and from we met, we just kind of clicked, and we became.
Well, it was Fantasy that put us together.
There you go, and we became very, very close. And I gave him the idea of doing. I said, Fantasy, let's do like a showcase because I'm not an MC guy. You know what I mean, so you will play, and then halfway through, I will do all my tracks, and you can mix them. Because me and Fantasy had a tune called Give Me the Girl. We had a tune called I Say You Say. I mean, then I had done a tune called Bad Man from a German producer. I can't remember his name. You know, it's been so long, but he was a wicked producer. So I'd mix all these tracks and then end off with Nuttah. And it worked. I mean, and Fantasy said up to this day said that inspired him to do SAS.
Right,
but I said that the right way.
Yeah.
You know. So I was doing my own gigs. with Fantasy a lot. I worked with Fantasy a lot, you know, and we became very close, worked so much, travelled, done so many things. And also with the band occasionally, you know what I mean? But the band was coming to an end as well. But then when my mum got told she had a cancer, I said to my mum, you know, I'm going to leave everything. And that for me was the sign, you know, from God to make a way for me. Because I always just say to, you know, Allah, like, make a way for me to do the right, better things. Like I said, it's not always about the music, maybe just the environments and stuff and, you know, things like that. So that was it. So my mum said, yeah, of course, you can become my carer. We paid our taxes, whatever, you know. I said, no problem, I'm going to be there looking after you. And I looked after my mum from the beginning to the end for the 1 year. And she died on December 2009, New Year's Eve, 31st. I mean, and I was there, and I saw her die in front of me, and she hugged me. And one of the things I said to my mum, you know, before she died, I said, Mum, do you forgive me for anything that I've done, anything bad as a person, as your son? And she said, son, I forgive you. You know what I mean? So I was very happy about that. But I knew there was a bigger thing coming. So my grandmother was still alive, because my grandfather died already.
Yes.
And my grandmother was getting, you know, she was older, obviously, than my mum. And I said, right, now I'm going to have to look after my grandmother. And I'd done that as well for 12 years by myself. And that was a nightmare as well.
Yeah,
I mean, it was hard looking after my mum,
yeah.
but my grandmother was a total different ball game. She, you know, over the years, she got dementia. She went, you know, there was so much things that happened. I looked after by myself for 12 years.
Big up, bro.
Yeah, no, respect.
Yeah. I know, because I know it's not easy. I know friends of mine who have been through, whose parents have suffered with that illness, you know what I mean, and what have you, and the challenges that they face. So to have done that for 12 years and...
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't wish that on nobody, to be honest. There were so many times I was just saying to God, well, I can't do this no more. It's too... Because my grandmother would run out on the street, she would disappear, she'd leave the door open. I'm not even talking about the cleansiness that I had to do. I washed her, cleaned her. All the family, really, they just turned... And they just had reasons why they couldn't help, you know? I made peace with them, really, but and I had to do it. Because
had to do it.
I couldn't see my grandmother in a care home. You know what I mean? It's just not me. So I struggled with that for so many years. And to the point there that I was finding it too difficult. I wasn't getting enough help from the council. So what the council would do, they would just say, what help do you need? I said, well, carers can't help me because we live in the same house. So if I'm in the house when the carer comes, I can't rest. I got to be there to see what you're doing. It's not going to... So the only thing that can help is that she goes into care home for the respite for a little period of time. That gives me total rest. So they say, well, we'll just give you 6 weeks and you have to pay half of it as well. Now, a care home is £1,000 for a week or more. So, you know, and I said 6 weeks. That's just 1 month and 1 week. I can't, 11 months. I mean, if I tell you, I could write a book just on that 12 years. I always wanted to do a film called The Carer. Or, you know, it was so hard, unbelievably hard. The thing about my grandmother, she was very strong and very different from my mum. My mum was more soft-hearted, and my grandmother didn't trust no one, not even me. So she made it difficult as well. And I saw this strong person become like, you know, weaker and weaker, forgetting herself. She doesn't know how to clean herself when she goes to the bathroom. She would take it with, you know, her hands would be messed up, touch things. It was a nightmare. End up in the hospital sometimes. I'd be coming home from getting the shopping and the doors were open, the front doors. Only God would protect us, you know, and no one come in and rob the house. Because she don't even know. She just out on the street, walking, getting lost. The police are phone, like... And I was trying to do all this madness. You know, like, my mum was a diamond, my grandmother, they all deserved the respect because they looked after me. You know, they deserve everything and more, you know. So I thought, I'm going to do it. And yeah, it was very, very hard. To the point, at the end, I was saying, I can't do this no more because I was getting tired as well. I was getting angry, being tired, couldn't sleep. So that actually, by the end of the time when she was really bad and I was just too tired, I said, I need to pay for this care home myself now. I'll try to do something. So I said, what can I do? The only other alternative is go back to music. I went to talk to some Muslim brothers about, and some people had an opinion, no, brother, you know, and some said, well, there's a thing called necessity. You know, you're not really saying it's halal what you're doing, which I didn't ever say that in the sense of the environment, but you're under pressure.
What year is this?
Right, so this is 5 years ago.
Right, so this is when I saw you.
Right.
This is when I saw you.
People don't know why I came back.
Yeah, because this is when I saw you.
I never mentioned no interviews. This is the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
time I mentioned it on this platform, on like a music platform, about why I went back. They thought I went back because it was 25 years of Nuttah. Some people say, "Oh, he's coming back. He ain't been around. He ain't been around. He's just jumping on big people's heads." Because when I came back, obviously, I spoke to Shy as well, and Shy already, you know, was, I don't know if he was already in the motion of the remix of that, because I didn't know about the remix that Chase and Status did, but I knew they were playing a dub plate already. Yeah, but at that time I came back, it was 25 years of Nuttah, so it was like, and in some ways as well, I was alone that time as well, because everybody kind of left me. All my close people, they just really left me. So it was like, for 10, 12 years, 10, 11 years, I'm in a same routine. Coming from my phone ringing off to nobody ringing me. You know what I mean?
But you know what?
But I get it though.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that because of you and not because of them?
Like I said, sometimes you walk different roads, so people can't walk down that road.
They can't walk down the road.
But there
with
were
you.
some close people that I expected to be around me, and they weren't, right? To be honest. And
maybe the change in you was too
it was hard.
dramatic.
I was so
Yeah.
tired as well. I was hard to talk to, and people didn't understand. I would lose my temper quick because I haven't slept. I'm not sleeping in the night. I'm 24 hours looking after my grandmother. And it's madness. But like I said, that time I returned back. I said to Shai, I need to come back because I got these issues. He goes, all right, well, let's see what we can sort out. And bang, Nuttah 25 came. And as I was working those stages, and it was weird for me because I always given talks against music and all this kind of thing, and I'm leaving it, and and all of a sudden, I've gone back, and I said I just have to do what I have to do, and I said to Allah, Allah, you know my circumstance, you know what I mean, but I have to say an honest truth, the response I got back as well was nice as well. I got a lot of love.
You went through the mill there, boy. You were tested.
I was tested, brother.
You were tested.
I was tested.
You came through. You came through for your grandmother. You came through for your
mum. She died in
mum.
front of me as well. And I tell you how she died. It's weird. There's another mad story because every time God blessed me, because my mum, she died in the hospital, right, and I was beside her bed. We didn't plan for her to die there because when they said they couldn't do nothing no more, we planned for her to die in my house. But it worked out that she died in the hospital. And that worked out really well because we got her buried on the next day, New Year's Day, where people said, how did you get the paperwork? The council, we phoned the council, right, and they said, the man said, come, no problem. All of the lights were off in the council, but one woman was waiting for us to do our paperwork. We come back, because my mum died in the hospital, the doctor signed her off. If she'd have died at home, you'll have to wait days. And where we buried her, because it was like an hour away from where we lived, right? It's called the Gardens of Peace, which is like a Muslim cemetery, right? It usually takes 2 hours to drive there, right? It's like Ilford or whatever from South London. But because it was New Year's Day, there was no traffic on the road. It was like God made her way easy. Yeah.
Made it easy for all of you.
All of us. And definitely my brother. And basically, my grandmother had an accident. She fell down. And she didn't my grandma was very stubborn. She didn't want to go nowhere, but she had pain. I said, nah, you got to go to the hospital. She ended up in the hospital. They wanted to kick her out after 3 weeks. I said, no, you can't do that. Because I know my grandma's got pain. Even though my grandma said, I want to go home. I said, no. She goes, we'll put her in the care home for a couple of weeks. I said, fine. She went in the care home. Then the lockdown came. So I said, you know what? She's in the best place because that scared me, the lockdown. Everybody is rushing shops. I've never seen that, get this. And I said, I can't get this for my grandmother.
I think it scared everybody.
Yeah. So she's in the best place. So she stayed in there. I went there to visit her. And then they stopped people going in there. They said, no one can come in now. But you made that time. So as I see on the video, I was trying to take her out. And eventually they said she's not eating no more, whatever. She's going down. So I said, listen, I need to go there twice a day. They didn't want me to come twice a day. They said, I said, no, please, I need to come in the morning and evening. And I prayed to God. I said, God, please let me be there when she passes because I don't want her to be alone. And for the 3 days I went, 4 days, I went in day and the morning and the evening. The one evening I went there, she passed away in front of me. So I was like, you blessed me again. You blessed me again.
And her.
And her. Yeah. And her. Thanks, man. So, but like I said, I went back to do Nuttah 25 and that money I was getting was helping me a little bit to put her in the care home for like 1 week or so I can, and I was doing that. And Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot
it's
of people
true
don't
story,
know.
but unbelievable story, bro. Because I remember it was a festival. I can't remember what festival, and I was walking this way, and I saw you. I think either you or your friend had a blue jacket on,
Okay.
and you were with two other brothers.
Okay.
And I said, "Oh right, that's my man, you know."
Yeah.
And I was a bit red, you know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, what?" And you were like, "Yeah, man, yeah, respect." Obviously, you didn't know who I was, you know what I mean? And not that it made any difference anyway, but then from that point, as I recall it, because there was a lot happening at that time. Around that same time, Chase and Status were coming back, you know what I mean, with their return to jungle.
Yeah,
You know, Shia just done his Soundboy. I think he'd done something with his Soundboy tape or something. Yeah. And so then seeing you, I was like, there's this little kind of, there's something's bubbling underneath here now. Do you know what I mean? And but nobody would have ever known.
Yeah, I mean like I said, so there was that main thing about my grandmother. That's why I come back, and then the love that I was getting, I enjoyed a little bit of that because now everything's changed. That when I came back, all these massive festivals, I'd never done those big festivals. You know what I mean, so I done a few gigs, but the main video that blew me up to make people see me again was when I done Boomtown with Shy FX. That was a massive crowd, and I was just saying, wow, this festival thing is a whole different new thing for me.
I think I saw a video of that. I mean, what's really interesting and quite nice to remember, and I remember having this feeling at the time of watching it.
Yeah.
And I thought, the way how he's handling that crowd, I know he's not done no crowd like that. And the way how he's handling that crowd is an innate thing in him.
Yeah.
The whole thing. And then I saw we were together, me and my wife, we were together when we saw you at Groove and Fabio's first one as well.
Yes,
and the way you handled that, I said like, this is something in him.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how long ago he hasn't done it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I was happy for you, bro.
Thank you, man.
I was happy for you.
Thank you, yeah.
I was happy for you. I
For
was
me-
happy for you.
My
Yeah.
my performance is, I as Shy knows as well. He said I give it as best as I can. I always try to give it 150%. Like I said, when my mum passed and my nan, then I really stopped doing music totally before I went back to 25. Just in that period of looking after my nan, I managed to get to Egypt to study some Arabic because at the beginning my nan wasn't that bad. So a scholarship came and I managed to go to Egypt because I never spoke Arabic fluently. Even though my father's Iraqi Arab, he speaks Arabic. So I thought, this is a dream. I'm going to go to Egypt and come back. They had exams every 6 weeks and I would come back. And that's the time I was getting stopped by police at the airport as well and interrogated because they saw a change in me, thinking, I was starting to giving talks to the youth as well. Not just about, not based on against music, but just based on being against gang life and many things, or get involved in things that, will put you into problems, and living more of a pure life and as a Muslim life, and Islam's the middle road. It's not going up, blowing up places, and because all these things were happening, the little things were happening, that the main media was portraying Islam in a bad way. Like the word jihad or, Allah Akbar, all these words that have so much different meaning, how they portray them. As you know, the media is a dangerous thing, especially if they're not on, their friends.
Yeah.
They will make people hate you, and that have spread a lot of lies and corruption about what it really is. So I was trying to do my works there, went to Egypt, study, come back. I was studying, I started to memorize the Quran, which I memorized a big portion. I'm still memorizing now. And I started to lead the prayers as well. So my voice wasn't really not stopped. And like I said, so people used to hear me recite and lead the prayer, and they would say the same thing, like, oh, this is something you've got a gift for. I think anything with my voice is, people think I'm destined to do something with that voice.
Yeah. So here we are then, pretty much in present time. Yeah. What's going on with you now?
Well, obviously, my grandmother died. Allahumma yarhamha, may Allah bless her soul as well. She died in 2021. And since then, I was really tired. And by that time, some finance was coming in, so which was good. Gave me a time to relax a bit, after doing all those years. And like I said, jumping on stage, when I came back to stage for like 1 year, Nuttah 25, there were so many gigs. It felt like You know, I even went to Carnival, and I didn't been to Carnival for years. You know, yeah, at that time actually, I actually thought I was going to come with another track. Yeah, I was meant to be coming with another track with Shy, but we didn't manage to do it. But so it was just Nuttah again, and was just focusing really on studying more. You know, learning Arabic more, studying more Quran. I became like, I don't like to call myself Imam, but I done Imam duties, because Imam's a big word. I done Imam duties. So I was like a part-time Imam in one local masjid. I still am there. And I was leading prayers and stuff. And that's what I was doing. But occasionally, as time goes by, now we're in next year, 2024. So since that time, 21 now to 24, you could say, because there was a need obviously for some finance. So I had done, you know, a few shows. You know, I'd done some shows obviously with Shy Effects specials, and what happened is really weird. I saw the David Radigan show coming, right? And we're just doing Nuttah 25 at that time as well. And I said to Shy, would Radigan want us to do original Nuttah for his celebration in the Royal Albert Hall of his 40 years in the business? He says, I don't know really. And then he phones me up later, I can't remember a week after, he goes, you know, it's really funny you said that. I goes, what? He goes, yeah, we you know, he's asked us to do it. What are you saying? I said, well, that's great. Royal Albert Hall. I've always wished for my own show to be in there. But that's fine. And I went there, met David Radigan again, which was great to see him. And just done few particular chosen performances. Like I say, because I don't have social media. People say like, you know, why are you not on social media? I say, so I'm not on social media. Social media is on me. Yeah. I like to have that thing of not having social media. I'm not saying I'll never ever have social media. So I've just been doing some gigs, practicing my faith as best as I can, and just traveling a bit.
And obviously you're doing Fabio and Groove's orchestra and whatever, you know what I mean? And that's kind of like really been, you know, seeing you come out and doing your thing, as I mentioned earlier, you know, like I was very happy for you, but...
Yeah, because they advertised me this time. Last time they didn't really advertise me, which I was happy.
Yeah, because you came out as a surprise.
I preferred that, to be honest. I preferred that. But now they advertise me, I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like we've covered so much today.
Yeah.
I feel like I know you so much more.
Yeah.
Really deeper level. In fact, as I sat here while you were talking, I said, you know what? As a Muslim brother, working in the industry, I think you've navigated that very, very well, my friend.
Yeah.
I think you've navigated that very, very well. I feel you've been guided, you've been blessed, and I think that with the challenges you face within your family, as many people do, you know, many people face challenges in their family.
Most
and
definitely.
they have to work it out, you know, and whatever. But for me, no, as someone who I don't really know,
Yes.
until you sat down in this chair today, we never even, I think we've just about maybe even touched fists.
Yeah.
In 30 years, of over 30 years. So
That's crazy.
for me to kind of like be here and hearing this story, you know what I mean? I'm pretty blown away by how remarkable, you know what I mean, a person you are coming through these things, you know what I mean? Like,
No, thank you.
I mean, I don't want to
No.
underplay it or overplay it, but there are those who might not understand what it's like to be in the music business or any industry where you've got the things at the tip of your fingertips.
Yeah.
People hanging off your every word, and then to walk away from that.
Yes.
But then see people still using your creation. It would be a hard thing to bear.
This is what, you know, it's weird, this interview, because I don't think I was ever going to go so deep in the feelings of it, but it is very, it still is. It still affects me occasionally.
No, I'd imagine it would.
It's quite sad because I had so much plans, but the Creator is, you know, is the planner of the planners. So we give thanks for whatever direction that we got health, you know, and look at like I said, look how people are suffering in the world. You know, I'm living a good life. You know, I give thanks for what I got. But yes, it was a big test, and it is occasionally now when certain things pop up, and when I think about what the things I want to do. I always say this to my close friends, like Fantasy, and they say to me, come on, you know, I say 99% UK Apache's career is over. You know, I just sing original Nuttah. You know, but there's always that 1% that something maybe could light it up again, in a sense of, to the point where I finish maybe what I wanted and what I started, you know. But as far as I'm saying, 99% is done.
Well, I'm sat here now saying that if that 1% should come about, I'd be happy to kind of like do whatever I can to help support that.
Blessed.
Thank you for joining us
Thank you
today.
very much,
Thank
my
you,
brother.
brother. I really appreciate you
No, thank
coming
you.
through.
Thank you,
Yeah?
man. Thank you for
All
your,
right then,
thank you for your love, brother.
All right then, thank you. God bless. That's a wrap.